What do I love most about League of Legends? I think I love the fact that every game is a new experience, whether there are things that are similar or not. Each game feels like you can always improve upon yourself and you get rewarded for doing so, or like there's a lot of instantaneous feedback, I think. And it just feels good when you know you're better than your opponent.
Every game is new, and there's always something to take away and learn. And another benefit of having a new game is that regardless of what happened prior in the series, there's always something that you can go in with a better mindset and more lessons learned. And I think that is exactly what Shopify were able to do. Even after a crushing loss in game 1, they endured Jatt. They withstood the momentous task of playing against FlyQuest in that second game, and they finally took them down, which has saved their playoff implications for next week.
Yeah, so I've just been playing around with our LCS playoff tool, and I can give a verbal update of what stakes are remaining for Shopify. So had they had lost that series 2-0, they would have been eliminated from playoffs. Now, if they win this series 2-1, then a 2-0 or a 2-1 against 100 Thieves next week would guarantee them playoffs. If they lose this series 2-1, they're still not eliminated because a 2-0 against 100 Thieves would actually put them in playoffs over 100 Thieves. So that's how important that was. They're still going to have to beat 100 Thieves next week.
Yes.
So no matter what, if they lose to 100 Thieves next week, even if they 2-1 this and they lose to 100 Thieves 2-1 or 2-0, they're also still out. So they pretty much need to focus on it. Weirdly enough, like the 100 Thieves thing could be all that matters for them, but more importantly, not getting swept by FlyQuest was the most important quest for them this week. It's a bit deflating, actually. Like I debated whether or not saying that, because yes, like winning against FlyQuest is amazing, but even if they lost this and they 2-0 next week, they're going to be in playoffs.
Sure, but I think then what you can say for Shopify going into this final game is play for confidence. Play to continue elevating yourself, and as Insanity said at the top of the bumper, find something new that you can discover about yourself so you put yourself in the best position to go forward next week against 100 Thieves. And I think for FlyQuest, what happens if they win 2-1? What is their playoff implications like?
So for FlyQuest, it's extremely important for them to win because then they can still get a top 2. So if they win this match, then a match win of either kind against C9 next week, 2-1 or 2-0, would make them second place, which gives them that first round playoff bye. If they lose to Shopify 2-1, then a 2-1 against Cloud9, or even a 2-0 against Cloud9 wouldn't get them top 2 because the game score tiebreaker wouldn't matter. So it's a little bit must-win for FlyQuest.
Yeah. So FlyQuest even have more of an incentive to close the series out, whereas for Shopify, use the fuel of knowing that you can play spoiler to your opponent, denying them that top 2 bye as extra drive to close the series out strong. As we head into the draft phase, FlyQuest taking blue side, as Sven predicted it. They went with the Ashe. They realized how strong it was in BVOY's hands. Shopify immediately answering with the Renekton ban. They go straight up for the Gnar and the Jhin.
Third Gnar game in a row for Bwipo. Bot lane has been a bit of a disaster this series for FlyQuest, which is quite unexpected, as Massu Busio dominated the week prior, with Massu actually being our reigning player of the week. This Jhin for Insanity, we have to respect it as a flex pick. I think it can go BVOY or Insanity. So you never know with these Shopify drafts, especially when they're on red.
Shopify, what are they going to show from their hand? Do they want to go for the Nautilus once again? Give Zeyzal guaranteed lockdown? That would be crazy. Don't get your hopes up too fast, guys. It's going to be the return on the Taliyah. This technically still could be a flex pick, but I imagine that Shopify realizing Boogie had an excellent performance on this champion, and for them, it's like, let's not give FlyQuest an opportunity to ban it in the next round.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Even though there are still a lot of flex possibilities for Shopify, I do think that Boogie should play Taliyah again.
Yeah.
if I'm just going with shoulds, because he was able to keep pace with Inspired's Lillia. And quite honestly, if Inspired hadn't picked up so many kills defending his somewhat lackluster bot lane in the last game, it would have been even more one-sided for Shopify. So they should be pretty happy with the 3 champs they have locked in so far.
Yep. There's a couple of things that are looming for FlyQuest. They have yet to pick a top laner, and this is an early Gnar blind pick.
Yeah.
In previous metas, we have seen crazy counter picks. Aurelia, Yasuo all come to mind at the moment. I'm curious what FlyQuest will want to see from Bwipo.
Yeah. I really want to know what he has cooked up, because he was quite passionately speaking with the camera glance we got into what they were talking about in between games. And historically, Bwipo has dominated FakeGod. I was looking into these stats before the series, and I think all-time Bwipo was 7-2 against FakeGod. This is all-time LCS with dominant laning phases. I think he was averaging 18 CSD at 14 in the favor of Whippo. And this series, he's pretty much even in lane. FakeGod has obviously won both games. FakeGod has been 12-2-7 across both games. And with all of that, they still decide that their 3 bans should be Brand, Leona, and Renekton, to just let them have the Gnar. So this tells me that Bwipo is saying it's the matchup problem,
Yep.
and it's not the player, and his coaches are trust-falling him. So we need to see what he has left to shut down FakeGod's Gnar, who's having such an incredible series.
The Lucian lock-in for in Shopify Rebellion. Most likely going over to Insanity once again to guarantee that prio into the Corki, which gives Boogie free reign. FlyQuest, what is their option into the Gnar? Shopify already predicted a Malphite ban and the Sion lock-in. It's just a big old tank.
I see what FlyQuest has been discussing. I feel like they've been saying, wouldn't it be nice if we just had a good 5v5 team, since we can stall out the game for days and it's just about the team fights for us? That's what this Sion accomplishes. He's not going to win lane, but it's going to give Whippo a huge amount of tankiness in this game. Look what he's up against. Gnar, Jhin, Lucian. Armor stacking, plated steel caps. He's going to be the tank of tanks.
That's the gamble. FlyQuest, very positive that Shopify do not have what it takes to close a game out in lightning fashion. And to their credit, it took plus 30 minutes before Shopify were able to close out the Nexus with a 6,000, 7,000 gold advantage. So this is something that FlyQuest are just reading and saying, what do you got, Shopify? Can you actually blitz us in this final game of the series?
It's going to be about the bot lane for Shopify early. That's what has given them advantages in this series. BVOY and Zeyzal have been stepping up in a big way. 2v2 kills in both games 1 and 2. It's given Boogie a place to play around after that. It's kept Inspired not completely at bay, but at least it limits the impact he can have on the overall map. Let's see if Shopify can pull off an upset, get wins 2 weeks in a row, or if FlyQuest can keep their chances of top 2 alive.
For Shopify, it's about confidence, and it's about continuing to surprise the top of the table. For FlyQuest, it's a chance to net the top 2 round bye, as they would have to finalize it against Cloud9 next week. But it has to start with a series closeout against Shopify Rebellion today. Both teams locked in, and I'm ready for one more banger today. We've had so many exciting games, and it has been delivering as we finally head on to the Rift one last time here in Week 6.
Oh, look at FlyQuest. They're on a mission. All 5 of them, right out the base.
Inspired will be the first one to lead for Vision, making sure that the rest of FlyQuest is not seen. Zeyzal already took a recall, so it doesn't look like Shopify will try and capitalize and punish Inspired if he goes forward, which would be the bait that FlyQuest need to set up and try to lure Shopify into that trap.
Yeah. There's an outside chance of a lane swap here as well for FlyQuest because they have the Sion, depending on how much they've been practicing it. They have a lot of lane swapping experience from MSI. And this is, from experience, the best time to lane swap because you're so locked in to the intensity of the series and thinking about the lane matchups. When in a series deciding game, the other team lane swaps, it's very easy to forget that it's possible.
Shopify are going to start poking their head around and see what's up. Oh, wow. Boogie flashing away from the decimating smash as soon as they place the ward down.
I mean, this tells me that Shopify was prepared, actually. The fact that he was so ready to flash away meant he was waiting for some type of lane swap vision control cheese where they get you with the Sion Q. He would have actually been completely fine, but he didn't know that, and he was incredibly ready to stay alive.
Yep. Definitely a shame knowing that after the aftermath, Boogie realizing it was only 2 members, he probably could have survived, but that's just kind of the forethought or the mental prep that Shopify are going in. They're making sure they're not giving away any chances to FlyQuest.
And now it's an experience game. Bwipo, I believe, got 2 of the 3 minions. There's 4 people down bottom lane, so he's currently not opting for the let them kill me so I can get the wave strategy, and is instead just backing away.
Yeah. I was kind of ready to see with the Sion pick if FlyQuest were going to go for a late invade and then have Whippo kind of help Inspired clear the jungle a bit, but because Shopify maintained strong battle lines on both top and bottom side of the map, Inspired's not able to go right away into the jungle. But now that there is a vertical split, strong side of the bot for Shopify, top side for FlyQuest, Inspired now gets the chance to full clear through the top red buff quadrant.
Yeah, vertical jungling. The thing here, though, is that they're basically giving free gold over to BVOY that Massu is not going to be able to get. But the whole gambit here is that Bwipo versus FakeGod is going to be an advantage for Bwipo later. He steals a little bit of experience. Actually really clever by Bwipo to step up at this time. He's getting so much experience here, whereas FakeGod is still sharing with the rest of the team. They actually can't even dive Bwipo here. So pretty well played here, actually, by Bwipo for the time that he decided to move back in.
Yeah, I'm not sure how BVOY got chunked. I wonder if it was just their first attempt at diving Whippo and BVOY tanking up the turret shots, but because they're not super healthy, I think that adds to the reason why Whippo feels safe in that situation.
Yeah, even if they kill him as well, he's got his passive to continue clearing the wave, can teleport back in as well, so now we're not quite done with the swapping yet. I think the Ashe Alistar will be going bot lane, and Whippo's going to move his way back top lane at this point, but you can see in general, an experience advantage and a small CS lead for the Sion.
Yeah. It's funny how in the first 2 games, FlyQuest adamantly taking what might have been advantageous laning pairs into Shopify, BVOY, Zeyzal, and they lost solo kills in both instances. So now FlyQuest, and the answer is like, all right, guys, we're not sure what's happening, but we're going to save you the early laning phase, try to prevent and avoid that situation again.
Yep.
And now FlyQuest are just avoiding BVOY and Zeyzal at all costs for the first few minutes of the game.
I do think it's kind of interesting that the 2 lane swap teams we still have in the LCS are the 2 teams that played MSI, where lane swapping was a huge part of the tournament. And now it's this pocket strategy where they just have so much more preparation than everybody else in the LCS with that strategy, and they're going to be able to use it to their advantage throughout, I think, the rest of the playoffs, because classically this is just FlyQuest picks scaling and weaker top laner, and then lane swaps to escape that weakness. And since Shopify wasn't able to punish it, it at least now was, quote, successful.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing to talk about, though, because ultimately here we're talking about margins of like 200 or 300 gold, but it is still on those margins that you can actually sometimes win games, as we now see Boogie thinking about playing something.
Yeah, but someone is also here. Inspired shows up, and Boogie's cut off. He might be forced to flash, but he doesn't have flash from the invade before. But Zeyzal commits over the wall, and Inspired is the one that gets jumped. First blood for Boogie.
And if this is an MSI strategy, I hate to say it, but FlyQuest top jungle did have some whoopsies at MSI as well. This wasn't quite that level. Inspired has flash up, didn't think it would be life-saving to use it, so he ends up going down. Beautiful play over the wall by Zeyzal, actually. Once Boogie gets chunked down, to be able to turn that around was very nice.
Just trusting in the call. I imagine that Boogie was confident they could turn that around.
Yeah, I mean, Stunned, rooted, stunned. No chance to flash, actually, from Inspired after the initial re-engage.
The Shopify team has just been so different, so revitalized with Boogie back in. And it's not just an individual difference. It's how the individual elevates and lifts the team around him. Because you would imagine that when they were trying with Tomio coming in, that Zeyzal would be able to take up a lot of the mantle of the shot calling, but it seems like they were lost and directionless. Even if you check out the Shopify content in the vlogs, you know, they say like, man, it seems like we just don't know what to do. But with Boogie back in, confidence is back. Yeah. Everyone is on full throttle.
It's given them so much direction in the early game, late game as well. They've been able to close out a 2-0 last week, move this series to 1-1. Even if it wasn't fast, it was still effective enough to get the win and keep their season alive. I'd like to see the Shopify story continue, and the good news is it will, actually. So even if they lose this, because they kept their game score high enough with a 1-1 against FlyQuest, 2-0 against 100 Thieves, even if they lose this series, would still keep them in the playoffs.
Correct.
But the importance of this series win for Shopify is whether they would need a 2-1 or a 2-0 against 100 Thieves next week to make playoffs. Still going to be most importance on that series, but important technicalities of this season format and what is at stake for Shopify moving forward.
During that time, FlyQuest picked up the first rotation of grubs, neither team really having a chance to go for the first dragon of the game, which is Ocean. So it seems like Shopify are going to try and balance out these lane assignments to see if they can set themselves up for that objective, but FlyQuest are not going to really give them that much ease of choice. This wave currently frozen right outside of the tower for Massu has been quite punishing for BVOY as he cannot step up safely.
Yeah. Nice little CS difference for Massu Busio in the bot lane here. Also being able to threaten with Ashe Arrow and Alistar combo means it's very difficult for anyone to step up and get experience. The benefits of lane swap so far by FlyQuest, they have a level advantage in top and a level advantage in bot, so it was well executed despite the one death that they suffered when Inspired was 2v3 in the top lane. Hello, Boogie. Inspired sees you.
Yep, and Boogie has flash this time. Tries to wait. No, he doesn't even get a chance. He gets put to sleep, and Quad has the damage to knock him out.
That was a little bit strange, actually. I'd almost feel like Boogie might have been looking somewhere else on the minimap when Inspired first saw him on Vision. I actually want to see this replay with like a Vision toggle. There's a chance Inspired also saw him with Sweeper before his actual motto was revealed. Either way, they just one-shot Boogie, and that's going to slingshot Inspired to counter jungle as well.
It's so necessary for FlyQuest as well, considering that the first blood was against Inspired early on that top side play. Gets him back into the game and make sure he's on gold parity as we'll take a look back at the replay.
As far as I can tell, Boogie actually does see him, but just doesn't react instantly. So this is the red side vision right now from Boogie, and there he is. So Boogie was definitely thinking about lining his ult up and was probably looking past Quad because they were going to try and shove him back into Insanity and go for an all-in. And Inspire just gets behind him while I don't think he was looking directly at his champion on his screen.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, that is so tough. I mean, it's because it's not a case of window shopping. It's a case of, you know...
gank shopping.
Gank shopping, thank you. Well, for Shopify fans, it's not completely abysmal. But for FlyQuest fans, it's definitely nice for Inspired to get himself back in the game and make sure he's not falling massively behind Boogie.
Yeah. And let's not forget as well, this is a very important series for FlyQuest. We've been talking about Shopify being eliminated from the season, but FlyQuest can still get top 2. So, very important matchup. They play against the recently defeated Cloud9. But if they win that series after winning this series, they get solo second, which means they get that first round playoff bye. So, very important that FlyQuest take care of business here in Game 3 so they can take down Cloud9 next week and have it matter. If they lose this series, it would still be nice to beat Cloud9, but it wouldn't get them top 2.
Yep. That advantage and opportunity would be gone. FlyQuest, having learned their lessons from the first 2 games, though, as we've already talked about before, Massu and Busio handling themselves well in this 3rd game with the lane swap. And because neither team still had the optimal setup for that dragon, we've passed the time. Second rotation of grubs are already back up. No one's still contesting for the other objective. Whipoo getting in that push. And Inspired should be able to pick up all 3 again.
He very well might. They have Busio on the way up to match Zeyzal, who is already here. I do wonder, FakeGod is close to Mega though, so if he collapses down, he'd move. Inspired got the 4th grub, that's all he needs. No need to risk more.
And it's a teleport coming in from, I believe, Insanity, so Shopify really want to fight this. Busio and Quad are also here for the play. Boogie picks up the 5th grub in the game.
Yeah, I think FlyQuest is going to slow play this a little bit as much as possible because Massu
Arrow?
can get free gold.
Massu from downtown, right onto Zeyzal. The curtain call from BVOY on the right side, tries to aid in the fight. Zeyzal flashes away at the last possible seconds. He's ticking down. Lilting Lullaby will sleep one onto the right side, but FlyQuest do not drop a single man. However, Bwipo's in trouble, gets flicked back, flashes over the wall. FakeGod will continue the chase, sidesteps the decimating smash, and he still wants to go for it. Boogie with the Weaver's Wall finally finds Bwipo as he's flicked back, and even in the undead passive, I don't know how much work he's gonna get done. FakeGod is pushed off. Boogie is now on the other side of the wall. He tries to flash, but he cannot escape. Inspired trades one back.
And listen, this was perfect for FlyQuest with the way it played out. Think about how long this fight has happened, and think about how many hits Massu's gotten on this turret. There were 5 plates there when that fight started. That's 3 plates free over to Massu, so it's a 1-for-1 trade and a whole bunch of gold on their AD carry. Not to mention, they still hit one of the grub breakpoints to get to 4 grubs. This is a scaling game for FlyQuest. They just want gold because of how strong Bwipo's Sion is going to be later on in the game.
Yeah. FlyQuest reminding themselves of how they got the advantages they did in game 1 and that allowed them to keep at even with Shopify as the game progressed, and recognizing that while yes, kills are traded, Shopify commit to the play, but Massu's getting the gold. And so for FlyQuest, they're still asking the question to Shopify, do you have what it takes to blitz us in the first 15-20 minutes of the game? And so far, FlyQuest are the ones ahead.
Absolutely. Sunfire Cape completed for Bwipo's Sion. We're 13 minutes into the game. The first Ocean Drake hasn't fallen, so that's music to FlyQuest's ears. As the longer this game goes, the stronger they are going to be. Lucian Jhin does not scale favorably against a Sion Alistar team comp, so they are stalling the game well. They're also extending their gold lead, and this is a very controlled game state now at 14 minutes, as we approach 14 minutes for FlyQuest. Ah, man, solo gold onto the Corki, too, is just so nice for them.
Yeah. It's such a cleaner game, map-wise, from FlyQuest than in Game 2, where Shopify were seemingly trading a bunch of turrets, and even though FlyQuest are doing what they can to even out the advantages, it's still so difficult for Shopify to really force an advantage somewhere. And they're limited on the amount of reliable engage as well when you think about it. I mean, Curtain Call can initiate with slows, but you still need to get Zeyzal deep into the front line and into the fight. FakeGod needs to find that flank so he can find that Gnar ultimate. These are not easy to execute things.
No, they need to find picks onto like Inspired Quad and Massu because Bwipo and Busio aren't going to be dying that much. I mean, Bwipo now just trying to move top to defend this turret against Insanity. Yeah, he's just going to ult straight in and maybe even threaten summoners.
He weaved it and got a decent amount of chunk into Insanity's health bar, but the answer back with the calling will push Whipoo off. Throws out the Angry Beamo just for show. But Inspired is working on the dragon on the bot side of the map.
Exactly. Whippo's just creating space because he defended that turret. Quad got the bot turret. His jungler got the dragon. Massu's hitting mid. And I'm actually a little disappointed that Bwipo didn't recall and teleport back, but he feels like he doesn't even need to. He's just stepping back into that turret as they're pushing FakeGod off the lane now. So just advantages across the map here for FlyQuest. They're playing great in this game 3.
Yeah, and Fly are going to push in for this tier 2. Boogie, the only thing that he can do is just try and start up this Rift Herald and claim it as another tool to knock out these turrets on the outer ring. During this entire time, Jatt, FlyQuest have taken out 2 turrets, 4 grubs. Shopify have not taken out a single turret. The defense from FlyQuest over this entire map has made Shopify's task so daunting to try and find that advantage.
Yeah, Bwipo teleported back to the top lane as well to keep that turret alive. And the inner turret is now going to be even
someone pick
more
up the
close
eye!
to Quad.
Pick up the eye!
No.
No!
Shopify.
No!
I mean, at least they won game 2. Let's think about the positive.
That's the sigh of relief.
Yeah. This means they're not eliminated from the LCS. A 2-0 against 100 Thieves next week will win. Because I hate to be that guy, but this is a rough first 16 minutes against the scaling comp. It's the least exciting, unfortunately, the least exciting LCS game right now. But for FlyQuest, the most exciting.
And
because
honestly,
what's exciting is going to Worlds, getting a top 2 seed, getting a playoff bye, and being one best of 5 away from that championship. And that's all they came here to do.
And if you're 100 Thieves watching this game, you're taking notes. You're looking at how FlyQuest are playing the map and how many things that they are willing to give over, how many times they are willing to skirmish and scrap with Shopify, and how much they don't give an F about if they lose deaths or not, because they're just getting so many advantages on the map. Boogie gets knocked into the wall. Oh, and he's just popped! Nothing that Shopify could really do to bail him out. And I think Shopify is starting to lose their grounds here as they're just crumbling everywhere.
But FlyQuest is also playing extremely clean. I want to give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
They had some struggles with their bot lane laning phase this series that put them in difficult positions in Game 1 and Game 2. But now, with the lane swap to give experience advantages to their top lane and their bot lane, they're just not giving Shopify a window back in this game. They know they have better scaling, but they don't even need the scaling with the way they are playing the map right now, because you could pick an early game comp, and one of the best outcomes is a 5,000 gold lead at 17 minutes.
Yep.
But they're doing this just straight up through rotating around the map properly, finding the right picks, and generating gold on the right people. Quad is so fed this game. The 2 kills are nice, but you don't get to 8,500 gold at 17 minutes without numerous turret kills. So FlyQuest just getting back on track after a shaky start to this series.
Yeah, and any fight that FlyQuest takes is winning, which is why Bwipo is so confident in just storming into the jungle of Shopify. Takes a lot of damage on the back end, but he's a tank.
Yep.
He can absorb all of that, below 50% HP only, and he's still fine because he burned the flash from BVOY.
Yeah, and he's not even late game yet. He's a very strong Sion. That shield passive already given him 650 additional health. Probably a Warmog's game at some point. I do wonder if he's just going to build more armor for now, though, for the mid-game power spike. Yep, that's what he's going to do with the Warden's Mail. I think that's very smart, considering Taliyah doesn't want to blow all the cooldowns just on a Sion, and then none of the AD carries are going to have any chance of taking it. I never want to say it's a draft diff, because you have to play your draft well.
Yeah.
But it's what it feels like.
It definitely does. And the execution for FlyQuest has been stellar. And this is what we've come to expect from a top team like FlyQuest against Shopify, who have struggled for a majority of the summer split. Despite the recent revitalization in these past 2 weeks, it is still what we've all predicted to be favored massively for FlyQuest. And the fact that they're able to now rein back the controls in, find the windows of what was causing them problems in the early game, and completely bypassing it.
Yeah.
Now Shopify don't have the advantages to get back in.
Zeyzal might have to flash at least, I think. No, this gets out of there, no problem. Nicely done. But
Busio
in that trade, Shopify had to send 3 people to Bwipo to take the top turret, and they lost their inner mid lane turret, tier 2 mid lane turret. So another trade up for FlyQuest. And they're going to go back, spend that gold. They got over 1,000 gold in 4 different pockets, so they'll be much stronger the next time they redeploy.
Yep. These are the strengths of what we have really come to admire about FlyQuest throughout the split. When if they're faced with problems in the early game that they cannot brute force their way through, or, you know, frankly, hands check, then they come up with solutions. And clearly that second game end of talk outside proved very fruitful as FlyQuest identified a proper game plan going into this game 3, where Shopify are just truly running out of options to come back.
For sure. Bwipo, I think, hadn't been playing up to his standards in this series in games 1 and 2. He's all over the place in this game 2, in this game 3.
Busio flashing over and after Boogie. He's not getting anywhere. FlyQuest have complete control of the map and complete control of Boogie's own jungle.
Yeah, this is a signature Bwipo game, creating space, because he's 0, 1, and 2 on Sion with only 150 CS. It doesn't look like that much when you look at the scoreboard, but if you're the enemy team, man, this Sion has been so incredibly hard to deal with. He's been 1v2, 1v3, 1v4, defending turrets the entire game, and he's still making a large impact when the team does go for fights. So really well played by Bwipo. Quad as well in this. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the season for FlyQuest, and how poorly it started for Quad.
Yeah.
Their first matchup of the whole split was against Team Liquid, a finals rematch. He gets solo killed a couple of times by APA. He just replaced Jensen. The flame is at its peak. and he's really stabilized his game since then.
Yeah.
That's the only series FlyQuest has lost, actually. So they've been on a bit of a run of themselves, even if they've dropped several games along the way. They're winning all these series with their ability to adapt and stabilize by game 3.
And it's fitting for Quad, too, considering the opponents that he has faced in the past weeks up to this point. Teams like Dignitas. You know, that was the team that Jensen went to after, and so many people were criticizing, calling. It's like, hey, Quad, there's no way that he's better than Jensen. He solo killed him twice in the reverse mirror matchup in both games.
Yeah.
He takes on Quid, another person who would have been strong competition considering that he was the reigning MVP, and he's able to deal with him just fine, outscales him, is able to play out the fights hard, and provides as much damage as he can for FlyQuest in those team fights. So Quad has been leveling up his game and proving to be worth the investment that FlyQuest made this offseason.
Absolutely. His Corki is really hurting now, as even without the Baron buff, they're just brute forcing down half of this turret. Bwipo's thinking about R at any moment.
Now FakeGod trying to lurk around the flank, but they've already blown up Zeyzal, and now FakeGod has winded down back into Gnar. What a sleep from Inspired! And that should put this game to rest, as FlyQuest will knock down 3. They're going to have to wait on the next minion wave, so a little early on trying to push in for the Nexus, but that Baron is theirs.
Yep, Boogie down, Insanity down, Zeyzal still respawning. Got to walk around the pit, but it looks like they're going to be getting that Baron during this replay. Let's watch this one more time. You can see Bwipo so confident, knows he's completely unkillable, so can just fly in, kind of camouflaging himself with the Ashe arrow, and then literally 3-man E by Inspired. Catches a bit of turret aggro, so can't follow up. Baron is secured as well, and that is a big lead.
And before Jatt, if we weren't confident saying this game is over, I think we can now safely say with an 8,000 gold advantage.
I've been reading some comments online, and something happened where an 8,000 gold lead wasn't safe. So you do have to stay engaged in the game when you're up 8,000 gold. I've learned this.
All right. Well, FakeGod going to go for a last-ditch effort. Already slammed Quad into the wall, but Busio is playing front line and making sure that Shopify cannot follow up. Boogie is there with the Weaver's Wall, cuts off Massu. Curtain call, trying to weave the bullets around. FakeGod takes out Busio, but here comes Bwipo with the unstoppable onslaught as he smashes Boogie to the ground with the giant axe, and Quad is now back on the offensive, looking for FakeGod. Zeyzal tries to come back in with a counterattack, but it's a whiff. Everyone from FlyQuest sidesteps it. Massu with the double. BVOY on the run to the left side. And I think this might have been Shopify's last Hail Mary to come back. The deadly flourish only roots the tank in place as Inspired sends him back to the fountain. Insanity's on the run, and he's going to have to make a hell of a base defense against the 5 members of FlyQuest.
The death timers might be short enough that it might not be endable. The static shiv from Massu killed FakeGod. That's how they got him. He was too close to the wave. This massive static shiv ran up the whole wave to finish him. They'll at least get the inhibitor turret there. Whipoo working on the mid inhibitor turret. They have a lot of gold, but they're going to stay aggressive.
FlyQuest make short work of that bottom inhibitor. Baron buff still on their side as they rotate to the mid lane. The inhibitor structure falls. The inhibitor should be next. Whipoo standing in place between FlyQuest and Shopify to absorb any poke damage. Both of the inhibitors are gone. Shopify are going to try to look to see if they can catch them on their escape route out, but FlyQuest get enough distance and they'll get a chance to reset.
Yep, they'll have 2,600 gold in the pockets of Massu. He nearly full buys his Navori Flicker Blade. And we're going to watch this one more time. Shopify just doing their best to collect objective bounties, but then also they have a bit of a numbers advantage, so they decide to go in pretty hard at the start of this fight. You understand why they would do this. They get such a good chunk onto Massu, so it's time to all in. But then, when Massu doesn't die, he then cleans up the outside of this fight. Re-engage by Bwipo, and I just want to confirm, as long as not too much crazy is happening on live, as Bwipo's getting hit, I want to see if this static shiv from Massu actually does kill FakeGod. So Zeyzal gets a little closer to the wave.
Oh my goodness! You're right.
Static shiv, the dream.
Betrayed by the minion wave. Captain Jatt cleanse from BVOY, nicely done on the arrow, but that's still an inhibitor falling in the top side, and now double super minions will be pouring into the base. 10,000 gold advantage for FlyQuest. This seems like everything they need to finish this game out. Shopify will still try. FakeGod tries to leap forward while he's still in Mega, but now pops back down to Mini. Curtain call, trying to open up and
Behind
find an angle. But Bwipo and Busio will absorb the damage. Zeyzal goes in. Decent damage onto Massu. Below 50% HP, but FakeGod is punted in. And that should be it. FlyQuest will put a rest to this series. Put a rest to Shopify trying to go for the upset. And FlyQuest now move to one step closer for that playoff bye.
It wasn't the 2-0 that many predicted, but it is still the series win for FlyQuest. Now it will all come down to that series they have against Cloud9 next week to see who can be the second seed in the LCS and get that first round playoff bye. And even though Shopify would have loved to win this series against FlyQuest, they did what needed to be done to keep their season alive.
And with that, we're going to be joining Emily on stage for the interview.
Thank you very much. I'm going to try to grab Bwipo after the bow. Bwipo! Yeah. Good, how are you?
What? I didn't hear you.
How are you?
I don't know. It was a good day. I mean, we won, so that's nice. I feel like I don't know. I think I'm pretty happy about today because I feel like even though people complain about the bottom of the standings in the LCS, I think Shopify is a team that actually put in a lot of work, and you can see when they get the drafts they like and they play their own game, they play pretty damn good. So.
The crowd is happy to hear that. I think, yeah, a lot of people had identified Shopify of the one-win teams as like the most dangerous in terms of punching up. One thing I did want to talk about is you have this interesting attitude, or not, it is interesting, but it's a little bit different than a lot of other top laners where you really, really highly value tanks, even in this current double AD meta. And going into this, you picked Sion, and then you guys prepped the swap. You and TL are kind of these two big swap teams. So I guess talk to me through the Sion pick and the strategy.
Well, like AD carries are OP and they build crits, so if you buy Randwin's Omen on a tank, you're pretty damn tanky. Sion gets, I don't know, he gets like 1,000 extra health just by existing, so you count that with some crit damage reduction. It's pretty good. I don't know. Also, I'm pretty good at Sion, so I like him. Thank you. And then the swap, I don't know. I think it's trauma from MSI. It's pretty bad trauma scrimming some of the best teams and getting swapped on all the time. Like it's rough. So it makes sense that us and TL like swapping because it's like some of the things they do to us in scrims. Like, oh. Like you don't forget those, so we didn't forget those, and we're still using the swaps to our advantage because, I mean, yeah, obviously Sion's great in swaps, but even when we don't use Sion and you don't see Sion in other games, swapping is popular because it's just a good way to keep the game stable. And if you're confident in your mid-game macro, and especially if you're drafting some greedy mid to late game spiking champions like Jax or Sion, can be a really good way to get ahead.
And then looking forward, you mentioned some disgusting things in scrims, but overall, you face C9 next. They did suffer a defeat to TL today, but they're still looking really strong. So what are you looking from your team in preparing to go up against C9?
I don't know. I feel like I was jealous watching the games, I was, like the first game especially, they had like 7 team fights in 26 minutes, and I'm like, damn, I miss that kind of game, Like that's what League is all about for me, and that's what playing competitively. Like all my best memories of the games, like you respawn, you group up again, you look for another fight. Like there's like 1 or 2 waves on side, you catch it, and instantly you 5v5 again. And I just hope it's a banger like that. That's what I'm looking forward to.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to it too. I'll see you then. Thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll send it to the lounge to close it out.
And it's back to us. At least Shopify takes a game in the series, so they still have a playoff chance, playoff hopes that they go into, I think, 100 Thieves next week. Mm-hmm. So, thoughts on the series overall?
I think SR can be okay with this series.
Oh my God, okay as in what? Like what's?
I mean, they're still alive. That's good enough for them, I think.
Yeah.
I think beating FlyQuest would have been amazing for them, but I think they're still alive, so
Who do you have taking player of the series for this one?
I think Inspired.
All right,
It
let's
can't
see
be
what
anyone
it
else, I
is.
think.
He played really
There's
damn
just no
well.
way it's anyone else inspired. That would just be too messed up.
Drum roll, honestly. Let's see who ends up picking it up. It is inspired, but throughout the week, this is just the player of the series throughout the week. Jensen from Dignitas, Tomo coming in for the team this week, so picking up player of the
I
series
think Kush had
immediately.
a good series as well. Could have been him as well.
Yeah, it could have been him very easily.
Jan, for sure.
Yeah.
No discussion there, no argument. He played very good, I think, in game 2 and 3 especially.
Yeah. Just from all of those player of the series winners, which one did you like? Which games shown out to you the most? You experienced the Jensen one though.
I think Jan played well in SL in game 2,
Yeah.
but it was just that one fight, right, that sealed the entire game. And from there onwards, I think if anyone else had played that game out,
Yeah.
might have been the same outcome.
Okay, true.
So it's like, yes, he played well to get there, but that was it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. But still, he had a good series as overall. Played well in the game 3 as well. He didn't make any mistakes overall, so I think he just deserves play of the week because of his opponent being the better. Like, does
Yeah.
Inspire deserve MVP for beating the last place team?
Yeah.
Does Jensen deserve play of the week for beating Palafox? Like, come on, bruh. You know
Hey
what I'm
man,
saying?
Jensen's
Like-
one probably watching right now saying, hey, make a case for me. Let's take a look at just the full split leaderboard for the Samsung SSD Fast 5s. Let's actually check them out. Maybe your name's on the board. Oh, it's actually just for the player of the series leaders. So Impact is still #1 from what I could see. Then it's Berserker, Massu,
4?
Inspired. Yeah, he's been stacking them up. He's actually low-key MVP of the split runner, like just.
I mean, he
somebody
had a
that
good
can pick
series
up.
today as well.
Yeah.
Just not standing out that much, right?
Yeah.
Like Mordekaiser just 0-0-0, winning out that one game.
Yeah, but anytime I feel like they put pressure
His
up
Jax
against
game was
the
really
map.
good, I thought.
Yeah,
I honestly think, like, looking back at it, if he had a more impactful game 2,
Yeah.
he would be player of series over Jan, because his game 3 on the Jax was much better than Jan was.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Jan just stomped harder in the game he carried.
That is true. I feel like that's kind of the byproduct of being an AD carry, but let's just actually see what the Samsung SSD Fast 5s. This time, we've got the list. Interested in what names we see up there. Anything that comes to mind for me, Berserker, BVOY for fastest kill? I mean, that's just, I feel like the bot lanes have been
I will
really
say that,
active.
that second game, Shopify versus FlyQuest, First Blood on Busio was a bit...
true!
They just kind of like, just right-clicked him and he just died and rolled over. Like, that was early.
BVOY is definitely thanking Busio.
My boy Isles here with the fast support item. Let's go.
Nice.
People really care about support items.
Fastest level 6 from Spica, so if you just want him to continue to just farm.
Full clearing.
Yeah, full clearance, full
Yeah, bro. You were smurfing, bro. You full cleared on CD.
And thank you, our friends at Samsung, for powering our stage PCs all split long with the speed and reliability of the Samsung 990 Pro SSDs. So appreciate you guys out there. Appreciate the players that are on that list. Now we talked about player of the week. This is time to actually think. Hopefully you didn't cheat and looked at the name that was up there. Go
Right.
look at it. Okay, it's Jan. All right, I was wanting to do you guess
And
on this one.
he had my vote.
Yeah, he actually had an incredible series. You already praised him a bit. Talk him up a little bit more from the series that you saw.
I mean, I think the first game he wasn't too impressive on the VARs, but I think he had a very good game too. He was like, the reason they won the game is off that bot 3-3 they had. I'm sure we'll see it. That 3-3 just sent the whole game into the ground. So that was a good game from him. And then in game 3, he just played really, really solid in every team fight, didn't make any mistakes. And sometimes you don't have to carry the whole game alone as an AD carry. You just have to be not the reason you lose.
Yes.
And Jan is very, very rarely the reason they lose. So yeah, just good series from him overall.
2 undefeated teams, a really high quality series, back and forth constantly. These were really chaotic fights, and so it really depended on who made the least amount of mistakes.
Yeah.
Definitely looked like he made the least amount of mistakes and just had like really high damage output. At the end of the day,
Still frustrated we don't see 2v2 laning in this series.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting kind of like scammed a little bit here.
Yeah,
with
we
the
did.
lane swaps every game.
we need to start paying teams to stop swapping. That one. Or finding the teams that do. FlyQuest, we're watching you, but let's take a look at the standings actually. Let's throw them up. Check the standings at the end of this week with 1 week left to go. Team Liquid, Cloud9, FlyQuest, and Dignitas have all qualified for playoffs. So congratulations on that one.
Let's go.
And then the 3 teams that are fighting to stay in playoff contention, 100 Thieves, NRG, and Shopify Rebellion. The fact that Shopify ended up taking a game means that they are not out just yet. They face 100 Thieves going into the next week. So let's actually just pull up next week's schedule if we can. And I'm trying to look at the remaining opponents on the side of the screen. Any team that catches your eye right now, like just based off of performance that they had this
I'm
week?
wondering who Energy's playing against.
That's your answer. Team Liquid!
Oh, shit.
That is actually hilarious. Shopify Rebellion versus 100 Thieves. Another banger. Cloud9 versus FlyQuest next week. So that's going to be the match of the week for sure for my
What do you
eyes.
mean? Not think it was IMT?
It could be. Are you scared for IMT? They're a team that can always... Now that they know they have nothing to lose.
I'm wondering if they'll even be streaming this week.
I'm sure they will.
They're already out.
Just so they look good, so they can actually have a good week.
Does IMT being out make them stronger or worse?
Last time it made them
Nothing
stronger.
to lose, but also nothing to gain by playing. Somebody that's demotivated, or do they just have nothing to lose? So
I just don't want you sleeping on them. That's what I don't want. Let's take a look at NACL Summer schedule. As you can see right in front of us, they're going to be having great games even after today's show. That's going to be it for us. We'll be back next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Let's send it over to NACL right now. As I mentioned, the games are happening. Solid games as well. Take it easy, guys.
Press the flash. I'm in Ashe. Taking the flash. I'm helping you. I said.
Go on.
I'm doing. Let's go
flash,
guys.
We can end, guys. We can end. Look
Okay,
at
rest of the flash.
Okay, we won. Bars cannot defend.
Rest of the flash. We can end.
It was a slugfest, but C9 is still standing when the bell rings at the end of round 1. Team Liquid still trying to get a kill here as Blabber tries to get over the wall here with a flash. He gets the distance. Yo! To go in for it.
I'm not giving it.
Hit the flash.
Both no flash, guys.
Down top side.
Watch this on the flash.
Don't give in. Yeah.
Tier 2. 갖고 놀아.
Tier 2. Game 2 was quick and easy for TL. It's tied up 1-1. But the engage from C9 is ready. Core JJ caught out yet again, and Berserker's got the damage to kill him off. But now the counter engage from Umpty. Impact is teleported in behind for the counter strike. Vulcan's gonna drop it, so is Blabber.
I can only Lucian flash it out. Lucian flash. TP. 4 seconds.
Kill him first. Team Liquid is the best team in the LCS here in regular split 2024 summer.
Yeah, okay. Waiting.
Don't fight right now. Careful.
Well played.
I'm fine. It's a good count.
I wish it. I shoot. He's hit. Kill his ass.
I'm
nice, guys. Kill his ass. Get him in. We can get Nash. Okay. Jhin is sleeping. Come. Jhin is sleeping.
Coming. I'm stunned.
Kill him.
I think we can end.
Yeah. Well played.
Nice.
As FlyQuest will find the first game win of the series. He goes golden with his Zonias. The turn from FlyQuest. They try to pop him. Massive damage onto 2. They got him out. Go Vega. And he's going to look for Massu next. He's in trouble. Dodges the rock. But FakeGod still has the hop and the crunch. Gnar into the wall. FakeGod with the triple. Down to the last legs. But Shopify still stand tall and keep their playoff dreams alive. Zeyzal goes in, decent damage onto Massu, below 50% HP, but FakeGod is punted in, and that should be it. FlyQuest will put a rest to this series, put a rest to Shopify trying to go for the upset, and FlyQuest now move to one step closer for that playoff bye.
Welcome back, everyone, to your total coverage of NACL 2024 Summer Games. Tonight, our top story. Dragonsteel have seemingly taken the games by storm. We have some live footage from the ground of UG taking home their first gold medal. Let's watch.
Side can engage. FlyQuest starting to take down the bodies of Dragonsteel. Spyrax going down too. Seismic Shove gets UG one though. Bradley still full health, has the damage though.
While Dragons reign, there are some promising young athletes making their names known. Lens, who has always been known as an ace in his marksman challenges, brought home the gold for Supernova this last weekend, showing off a hometown favorite of his in Callista.
Just have the scoop from Young, shoving everybody into Tobo, but they don't have enough damage.
In other NACL Games news, there are only 8 spots on the playoff podium. Blue seemingly got their second win, with Quacker having a great performance, Ragnarocking their way to a gold medal in their heat, barely pushing them ahead of CCG for that 8th spot.
Ragnarok singing the song of death of his enemies.
The Jett will go down to a double kill to Levitate. Blue Otter out of nowhere.
The gold-plated victory was short-lived, however, as CCG showed some serious comeuppance in their recent events. Their mid laner Shochi earning a gold medal for his innovation in his role and putting CCG back ahead of Blue in the playoff race.
Takeover misses everybody. Now Manu is unleashed with a triple kill for the Ezreal. Oh, flash forward from Aaron will shut him down, but he's the only living member on the team as Shochi will get that juicy passive.
That's it for this week's coverage of the NACL 2024 Summer Games. We're getting down to the wire now with 2 weeks remaining, so make sure you keep supporting your favorite teams.